What'd you say your name was again?
Howard.
Howard.
Yes, sir. All of this is the aquarium. If you don't know, it's an aquarium and zoo. Okay? And the island of Bermuda, we go back to the 1600s. Bermuda had these big, large turtles like you saw. We had the green turtle in abundance. And we had, of course, the diamondback and the leatherback turtles. It's recorded in the history books that at that time, way back then, some of the fishermen would have up to 40 turtles in a boat. They used the turtle for turtle oil and turtle meat, the turtle shell. And so much so that they got to a point in the island of Bermuda in the 1600s. Bermuda was the first island to introduce an environmental law against prohibiting people from fishing for the turtles, and that was in 1620. By the time we got into the 1800s in the island of Bermuda, the turtles became somewhat extinct. And so when we got into the 1960s, they began to started a restocking program, reintroducing the turtles and stuff like that. And now you're beginning to see some of the benefits of it, and turtles in there are some areas where there are turtle sanctuary. When we go back, I'm going to show you one of those areas where people actually swam the green turtles. Okay, but of course that law is still in effect that you just can't fish for them or touch them. You might remember about the railway tracks, and so all of this, you see the sign railway trail, and a road runs along here. What was once a part of the train tracks are railway trails today, and you can still see that. All of the major beaches are on the south side, and so we see them going back, but one or two beaches are on this side, and we got a beach coming up here, and we call it Shelley Bay. The Shelley family were some of the early castaways in the island of Bermuda in the 1600s. That's where we get the name Shelley Bay. So you can see Shelley Bay public beach just coming up here. The people that live in this area, of course, this is where they would swim to.
What part of the island do you live on?
I live right in what is called Southampton Parish.
Yeah.
Look at a little bay just in front of you, and if you guys look real good, either you'll see a cruise ship just out of the bay out there also.
Yeah.
And if you look real good, you can notice the three ships. It looks like two at the dock, but it's not. So this is Shelley Bay, one of the beaches. The Shelley Bay is still a beautiful beach, but this is not going to be reminiscent of the beaches that we see on the southern side, what we call the pink sand beaches. Okay. For the island of Bermuda, soccer and cricket are primary fundamental sports. And you can see coming up to your left some soccer going Soccer is more of a winter sport, so we're in the soccer season now, and cricket is a summer sport, and both of those sports are just equally well loved. We have a national stadium, and the national stadium hosts, of course, international rugby, international track and field, and triathletics is very big in the island of Bermuda. The national stadium is just outside of the city of Hamilton. Okay. For us right now, we're coming into another parish, and we call it Hamilton Parish, and that's where we're coming into now, Hamilton Parish, and it has nothing to do with the city of Hamilton. And for this particular parish, we call it Bailey's Bay, and it recalls the name of the Bailey family, another affluent family that owned quite a bit of real estate going back in the early 1800s, and so we got the nickname Bailey's Bay. So when we started out, I told you Bermuda runs east to west. We started in the western end of the island. Now we're in the eastern part, and we're in, again, what we call Hamilton Parish. Bermuda itself, we're not independent, and we're what is called self-governed, and we have the same system of government that they have in the UK. A Westminster style of government. We have a two-party government system, and in each of the 9 parishes, we democratically elect members to the House of Parliament, and whichever party gets in as a majority becomes the ruling party. And among the members of Parliament, they would appoint or elect among them a leader, and we call it a premier, not a prime minister. Okay. premier and his ruling party and the opposition party appoint senators. And because Bermuda is not independent, and the Queen still appoints a British civil servant to be a Governor General over the island of Bermuda. And the Governor General, his ministry is very ceremonial. He oversees foreign affairs, internal affairs, and defense. And for us, we have what is called a colonial relationship with the Crown. And by that, we simply mean that for the people of Bermuda, we give $2 million a year to the Crown. That maintains the Deputy Governor, the Governor General, their fee, their travel, their colonial mansions, their servants, and their aristocratic lifestyle. And with the exception of that, the members of Parliament, the Premier, they run the day-to-day operation of Bermuda. We have senators that are appointed by the ruling party, and the leading party. They have everyday ministries, the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Immigration, and then they introduce laws in the House of Parliament and debate laws. And the senators rubber stamp all the laws. They finalize the laws in the Senate, which is in the Cabinet building. Because we're self-governed, we have our own passports, and we're called Bermudians. And Bermuda is the first island of all the islands to have its own money minted. And so in 1616, we had a money in the island of Bermuda called the hog penny. And the hog penny came in various segments. And then we got into the 1800s and the 1900s. We had the British sterling pound, but we always had our own design on it. And then when we got into the 70s, Bermuda moved to the decimal system, and we began to establish the Bermuda dollar, which is pegged and tied to the US dollar 1 for 1. So for us on the island of Bermuda, we have some traditional drinks, traditional rum drinks. We have something called the rum swizzle. And the rum swizzle is a very popular traditional drink. In a few minutes, you're going to see a restaurant called the Swizzle Inn.
Yeah.
And they're sort of the people behind that rum swizzle drink. The Gosselin family in Hamilton, I showed you, they produce the black rum called Gosselin. And they also make a drink from that called dark and strawberry. So those are the traditional drinks of Bermuda. If you do have a drink, be careful with the rum swizzle. You may end up swizzle dancing. If you have the dark and stormy, be careful. You might think you're in a Bermuda storm. Okay. We also have a liqueur that's made in Bermuda. It's called the Bermuda Gold. Gets its fragrance from a fruit called the locust. And so those are the traditional drinks for the island of Bermuda.
Where's the best liquor store to get those at?
You could get them. Well, let me just say this. No matter where you go, you're going to find all the prices the same.
Same?
Yeah. And if you're leaving today, and if you want to get rum, then you can get it right to the store and take it back with you. On the way back, we could stop. There's a store in St. George's, or on the way back, we could stop. Liquor stores are right beside the road. If you want to go in and see if you want to get a black rum or something, they have different sizes, or the swizzle. So if you want to do that on the way back, we'll make a little stop. It doesn't take us out of our way. Okay, so we can do that on the way back, and you can go in and Henry VIII and see the rum. There's a couple places. We're in the eastern end of the island right now. We call this the parish that we're coming into, St. George's. And we're going to take you right into the town. Take people by ferry boat, and they'll take them across to the main island. And as a result, we call the Bay of Water to the left Ferry Reach. Okay? In the front of us is our international airport, It's called the FWA International Airport. And of course, all of the major airlines come to the island of Bermuda. Whether it be JetBlue, American, United, Delta, of course, British Airways, Canada, and anywhere on the eastern seaboard of the United States, from Boston coming down, you could be in the island of Bermuda inside of 2 hours. Okay? As we're coming up here, you'll see coming up to the right a dilapidated bridge, and then some temporary bridges. And Bermuda's getting ready to put some state-of-the-art bridges in this area. They've already shown pictures of it in the newspapers and stuff like that. So as we come here, you look to the right to see the airport that's in operation today, all to the right. And then all in front of us, state-of-the-art airport being built right now. That's over here. So again, we call the Bay of Water Ferry Reach. Have you heard of Winston Astor, the Astor family?
Yeah.
The people behind the Hotel Astoria owned most of New York City in the early 1900s. And Winston Astor came to the island of Bermuda in the 1920s and built this house. You can see it from here, all the white buildings right across the water here. And he named it after the Bay of Water. He called it Ferry Reach. Every room has a view of the water. At the time, Winston that the airport was built, he just didn't like the idea. It obstructed his view and sold the property. Today, the property belongs to a wealthy family in Bermuda called the Berman family. They run a big concrete plant in the island of Bermuda. But we call the house Astor House in honor of Winston Astor because of his influence and the wealth that he had. As we come here, if you look to the left, you can see all of the white buildings on the hill up here. And Bermuda Institute of Ocean Science. BIOS is a marine research center. It's an independent center where it costs $100,000 to run in a year. And it's very renowned. BIOS, they have a big marine research vessel and they have students from all around the world that come here to the dormitory to study marine biology, pollution, planktons and ocean climates and things like that. So it's very popular. When they were building BIOS, the Rockefeller Foundation helped to finance it. If you look to the right, you can see a beautiful house up on the hill there. Goes all the way back to the 1700s. Belonged to an old Bermuda family called the Brownlow Tucker family. They have bird sanctuary out there, nature reserve. Just a beautiful area. If you have read anything about St. George's, then you would know that the town of St. George's is designated World Heritage by UNESCO. What we're going to do, I'm going to bring you in, I'm going to take you on the outskirts a little bit, show you a few things, and then bring you into the square for a few minutes. Okay? And so, to start, you can notice all the watercolors of all the little bottles on the wall. That's a tradition that goes back many years ago. It would enhance the people's properties, and some people believe those colors kept dogs from off of their properties from defecating and stuff like that. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. All the bay of water to the right as we're coming in, and we call that Mullet Bay. And a mullet is a fish. And so in the 1600s, when the early settlers came here and they settled in this eastern end and discovered this bay spawning with mullets, hence comes the name Mullet Bay. It's later recorded in the history books that they begin to realize in the months of September and October that these mullets had caviar roe. And so they became known for their caviar. And today, people still carry the tradition on. They call it mulleting. And in the months of September and October, they put their nets out specifically for the mullet caviar. St. George's was established in 1612. And so it's been our capital for a period of 200 years. And so we would find in St. George some original governor's mansions, because all the early governor generals lived in St. George's, and some fortifications in St. George's. Bermuda has a motto, and the motto is a Latin phrase, simply Quo Fata Forant, and it means wherever the fate leads you. As we come into St. George's, the motto is simply, it is a town ancient and loyal. St. George's is also one of the main ports for the cruise ships, and like Hamilton, they have natural channels, so the larger ships can't get to the channel. And so the smaller ships will come into St. George's. Out here in St. George's Harbor. And as we come here, if you look high up on the hill to the left, you can see St. George's Love. Park there, you know better than that. I mean, come on. I should go park. Actually, park there.
In the street.
It's the main street. This is Queen Street, and as we go up Queen Street, you have to use a little bit of imagination. Years gone by, a horse and carriage would have gone up through the street, and instead of having asphalted road, it would have been cobblestone with a little bit of the dirt or earth in it. And then as we come up through here, these houses were built way back in the 1700s. St. George's was saturated with history. We had slavery going back into the 1600s and the 1700s. See, the gray house just to the right was owned by a black man named Jamie Dowell, who became what was called a king's pilot and won his freedom from slavery. So he was the first to have a house in the island of Bermuda. You can see the house just right there, the cement color house, owned by Jamie Dowell, who became what was called king's pilots. And these guys were really good pilots and piloting throughout the waters of Bermuda. This building was built in the 1700s, and you can still see some of the old cedar that's here. If you stepped inside, you see all the cedar roofing. And this is the perfume factory where they produce the perfume that's shipped around the world, and it's called Lily Bermuda. At the perfume factory, they have little guided tours, and they just walk you through. Everything started in St. George's, of course, and in the 1700s, you look up, see the white building just up there. There was the first printing press held up here, just up on the hill in the 1700s. And everything as we're going through here is typically reminiscent of 1600s, 1700s, all of these narrow roads. Little primary school just to the left, St. George's Primary. And these are the pink showers that are you see them everywhere right now. And as we just look over here to the left, you can see original governor's mansion, Governor General's mansion that was built in the edge of the 1700s. And then as we come here, you can see what is called the unfinished church. The unfinished church was built in the 1800s. It's Gothic architecture work. It actually had a roof on it, but over the years, storm rather blew the roof off, and then they had financial problems. They also had schisms or division in the body that St. George's, and as a result, it never got finished. And so today it's a historical edifice, and we just simply call it the unfinished church. You're going to see the unfinished church in some of the brochures. During the Revolutionary War, if you don't know it, Bermuda gave assistance to the your General Washington. We needed gunpowder, and so a group of people one night broke into a magazine into this area right here. This was a fortification. They stole over 100 barrels of gunpowder, and they took it and put it in these whaleboats. And you're going to see the little bay, we call it Tobacco Bay. Went down to a bay called Tobacco Bay, put these barrels all in these whaleboats and shipped it off to some of the boats of the Americans waiting farther out. We went on to win the Revolutionary War. So as we come down here, you can see what is called Tobacco Bay. This is where they brought those barrels to, and had the whaleboats here. Tobacco Bay is also one of the popular beaches here. Bermuda grew tobacco in the 1600s and up into the 1700s. It was short-lived, but during that era, tobacco was very we call this Tobacco Bay, and it comes the name from that era. Okay? Tobacco Bay is one of the popular beaches.
Wonder what was going on earlier with all those.
It's kind of hard to say. Yeah. This way, water to the right, we call it Coach Pond, and that's the American word used to break the boards of the fans. It gets its nickname from Coach Pond. And many years ago, the fishermen were used to have these big fish pots, and they would take them out deep into the water, drop the fish pots, then they go back several days later, they pull the pots, and they'll bring them into little ponds like this. And at the time, they didn't have refrigeration, so they had to put on and pull the pot out and fresh fish. As we come in this area, just to the left, Fort St. Catherine, built in the 1600s and extended to that height in the 1800s. And now we have a 5-star hotel and exclusive condos being built. The Regent chain, or the Regency, and all that's what's taking place all in front of us. 5-star hotel and exclusive condos. As you look out there, you're looking at St. Catherine's Bay. That's Drew's Bay, the little bay right there. Up on the hill in front of us, some of the dairy farms. And all of this used to be a part of the Royal British Navy and the garrison. And so these are their barracks, and today they're being reutilized. They have school here, they have machine shop up here, old folks home, community center, so just a few different things that where the buildings are being reutilized. What was once again the British garrison. I'm going to take you down into the square, take out a few minutes, step out, get a couple of pictures. You might want to get something to drink or something, and maybe a bag of chips, something, and then we'll move on.
Rum swizzle.
Run in at the White Horse, get a quick swizzle if you want. Look high up on the hill, you see the Fort George high up on the hill. It was built in the 1800s. It's today and any ships coming into the island of Bermuda when they're 26 miles out have to communicate with this center, and they will guide them in clear customs.